Alright, I actually recorded that after you said that. But anyway, so, welcome to Wastelanders. It's the final episode, not just before the election, but the final episode this season, probably. But I'm just going to make this intro short so we can actually get to the proper questions tonight. So, tonight we'll be covering a different range of topics. Most of them I have covered before, but there are one or two questions that are new to this and specific to this interview. But we'll be talking about different things from caves and cliffs in the new server to more personal things that affect the everyday player, like businesses and jobs. So, that's, obviously, I won't spoil all the questions yet, but those sort of things we'll talk about. But I might as well introduce who we have with us tonight. So, first up, we have Pip Morris from the Sea Warriors party. Pip, want to say hi?
Hello.
Alright. We'll get into full introductions in a bit, but yeah. And sadly, we couldn't get Josh with us today, but representing him, we have Jack Bennett from the Beans party.
Hello, I own Wastelanders.
Yes, actually, I forgot to mention that. He owns Wastelanders. And finally, we have both Callum and Luke, Callum being the head and Luke being deputy, of the coincidentally spelled... Say hi?
No, I can censor it.
I did say coincidentally. Alright, okay. So, they said hi, I assume. So, like I said, we're going... Stop. Alright, so like I said, we're going through a different, variety of things today. Bearing in mind that the election is in exactly 2 weeks from now. And in exactly 2 weeks, all the candidates will give their speeches, all the people will vote, and we'll find out who the next president is. Alright? So this will be the most important show, as it will be the last one before then, so all the information that people need to know will be packed into this hour. Alright? So, this is the one to get all your policies, all your views, and all your opinions. But let's get started with how things will run today. So, let's say, for example, policies we'll pick as a topic. So, the way things will run, I'll summarise it, so I'll say, give me your policies, give me examples, all that. And I'll summarise the sort of points you should be covering in your answer. And then what?
Charles,
huh?
will we be having any debates in this episode?
Yeah, the whole point is the debate.
I love a bit of controversy.
And then, yes, then after that I'll decide who answers first. And then I have a whole system of, the best person to answer. And then at the end, we can have a bit of a debate and a bit of people, intelligently arguing, alright? But the whole point of this is to get everyone to answer, so everyone's views can be heard, so everyone has an equal chance to present their opinions, alright? So, and also, I just put this as a little note at the end, but for editing purposes, to make this easy for when I do edit it, so I don't have to chop it all up into small 4-minute pieces, and so I can get small clips, if you could begin with a small brief... like a small brief overview of your opinion, and then do a deep dive to help me, alright? Okay. But anyway, that's the introduction, so now we'll get on to me introducing every person, okay? So, first we'll have the intro questions and the debate. So, we'll start off with Callum for this one. So, can you state your name and your deputy's name?
Right, my name's Callum Oliver, my deputy is Luke Reader de Bud.
Alright, okay, wait. And then...
our party of the Nazis.
Yep, so that's your political party. Alright, can you give me a short version of your policy? So basic beliefs, laws, how you divide places up, what's acceptable, not acceptable, simple.
Right, well, first of all, if you're woke, I'm afraid you're just going to have to die. And yes, I know we're on loudspeaker. Just to get that one out of the way. The laws, we will punish everybody accordingly. Every crime will be punished fairly similar to what crime was committed.
Alright, okay, well, we'll get into full deep things on the actual question, but okay, nice. And then a bit of background on you, so just make this a couple sentences, but your history, criminal records, and how you've done in previous elections.
Right, well, my history on the server is quite interesting, actually. I've tried to do nothing but help people, but a lot of people have tried to kill me for doing that, so I've decided not to help people now.
Alright, yep, understandable. And any criminal records?
No, not really, but they tried to execute me for something I didn't do.
Alright,
so,
okay. And how have you done in previous elections?
Well, I came joint second in the previous election at Morris.
Alright. Okay, well, we'll go on to full history and things in a bit, but now, just to make the intro short and snappy, we'll go to Pip now. So, state your name, and if you have
Charles.
a yep.
I'd just say, Callum, you do have a criminal record. Gabe.
Okay, we'll get...
It's stolen stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll get onto that in a second, alright? We'll get onto that in a minute. When we go into the full-on debate, and I'll let you talk that out. But first we'll go to Pip. So Pip, can you state your name, and if you have a deputy, state their name.
So basically, my name's Pip Morris, and I'm going to be running for election.
Alright, do you have a deputy?
My deputy is Seb, even though he's got not many, I haven't fully decided yet. He's my deputy, probably not.
Alright.
But if he is, he probably won't have many accessibilities to stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, and what I've done on the server is...
Oh, wait, no, Pip, wait, we'll get to that. But can you just tell me your political party first?
Well, my political party is Sea Warriors, and yeah.
And can you give me a very short version of your policies?
Well, there's going to be no, we're going to try and limit the amount of stealing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's going to be punishments for certain crimes, stuff like that.
Alright, okay. And can you give me a little bit of background? So, what's your history on the server been?
So I've started up about, I can't count them, but it's about, like, 6 or 5 businesses on the server. I've basically, in the server, I've been basically increasing the economy, and I've sort of been helping people by selling them stuff that they need and stuff like that. So
Alright.
That's me.
Okay, very good. Alright, now we'll go to Jack. Now, obviously, I assume... So, I assume you won't be able to speak everything for Josh, but you have similar views to him, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Alright, okay. So,
yes,
name?
I do. Name?
Yep.
Our political party leader is Joshua James Tynan, and I am his assistant, Jack William Bennett.
Very good, very good. And your political party is?
Beans.
Okay. And again, short version of your policies?
We are fully peaceful, but if we are stolen from or any crime is committed in our property or in our land, then they shall be murdered brutally with an axe or my dick, depending on how it goes. Oh, I can't swear, can I?
Nope, you can't. Okay. I can always just edit that out, but for now, pretend you didn't say anything. Alright, and a bit of background on yourself and Josh.
I'm Ginger. I'm 5
On the server.
Josh is quite new. He's very new, actually. He started probably less than a month ago, would you say, Charles?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, less than a month, and he is currently residing at the Japanese village, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I have been on the Dodgy SMP for 2 seasons now, and I founded the rural part of the Mayflower. I founded the Japanese village, and I also founded the civilization, so I play quite a really big role on the server.
Yep, very true, very true. Alright, well that's enough about all the intro stuff. We're going to get into the real meaty debate. Are we all ready?
Yep.
Alright, so like I said, I'd start off by summarising a topic, and the first topic we're going to is something I did say that you'd leave for later, but we're going to come back to it. And it's your full-out long version of all your policies, but I don't want you to include too many, because you're going to have to keep them for your speech on election day as well. So don't say too many, but say quite a few, alright? If you get what I mean.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, obviously, so things I put here. So, just examples of things that you'd implement straight away as president. So, I don't know. For example, how we had the railway. The work that I did started straight away for that. Once it was being built. But things that you'd put straight away, and also things like civilization and branching out and things like that. Alright, so we'll go to who really wants to answer that one? Anyone?
Excuse me, Charles.
Yeah?
I shall be gone for a short moment of time, but for now, can you interview everyone else?
Yeah, okay.
And perhaps I can answer later on during the interview.
Yep, sure. Alright,
Okay,
so...
enjoy, lads.
Alright. Pip, Callum, which one of you really wants to answer that?
I don't mind.
Alright.
Adam, do you want first?
No.
Alright, so we'll go to Pip. So Pip, can I have the long version of your policies?
I mean, I haven't come up with a full list yet, because I've been doing other stuff. But, basically, any murder will not be tolerated on the server. They will, there's going to be a, basically like a government, and there's going to be, like, the government are going to hire people, to be part of the thing. They'll get paid. And, you know, it won't be tolerated lightly. If anyone has murder or, you know, things, then it can be fines, like they'll take some stuff taken off them, or, you know, they'll just be killed, or they'll get, you know, if there's arson, then, you know, they're just going to go, like, they're going to go to prison, but, like, so quite serious laws, because, you know, I'm sure if, like, Callum had his house blown, I'm sure he would like justice for that or something. So, you know, we've got to have, like, good rules, otherwise there'll be absolute chaos. Unlike the previous, or the current, you could say, president. Yeah, so that's going to be our rules, because we don't really want, you know, because, yeah, it's quite annoying when people blow up other people's houses, so it's going to be justice, and they'll be brutally murdered or be fined. So yeah.
Alright, yep, no, very understandable. I'm just getting... Okay. So, Callum, do you want to give me your policies?
Right, well, to start off with, there will not be any execution unless the crime is extremely severe, and usually for that it will just go straight to banishment from a certain area, and if they are to return, they will either be kicked off the SMP for a few weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
So we will not execute people unless it's really...
Unless it's a very severe offence of our rules and guidelines.
Actually, can I let me just also mention this. I mean, this only applies to Callum since all the other deputies aren't here. But if you do want to pass on a question to your deputy, feel free, alright?
Right.
That's absolutely fine.
But carry on, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we will not execute people, as I said. Also, we will allow people to build wherever they want, and we will actually encourage people to branch out and form their own separate areas, because as I've seen personally, when all the players are forced to live together, it just causes chaos and robbery and crime. So why put people together to do exactly the opposite of what you want them to do?
Yeah, no, alright. Now, do you two have anything you want to argue with the other person about that they said?
No, I just don't agree with the execution, really.
Alright, Pip, anything to say to that?
I think execution's a bit... yeah, I would only do execution, like Callum said, if it's really bad. How the execution would work, they get executed, but they get their stuff taken off them first, put them into a chest. So when they come back, so they can collect it. But this is only for very serious crimes, like lots of counts of murder and arson. Let's say they killed loads of players and they just went around burning houses down. Then we're gonna might have to call an execution on that. And basically what would happen is they'd get the stuff taken off them, so when they come back to sell, they'd get given back to them. And then basically they'd go into the execution machine, get executed, and then they'd respawn. There'd be an obsidian block around their respawn point. And that would send them straight to the prison. So they'd be in prison until they come back, and then would unlock the door, and then they'd be freed. But if people's houses have been burned down, they've been murdered, then executions isn't always the route to do things, but stuff like that, I think a lesson, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Callum, Luke, anything to say about that?
No.
Alright. So, let's move on to the next topic then. Actually, I'll speak for Jack for this one, like you said. Obviously, I have something else to add. I'll let you two discuss this now. But before I say that, I think Jack, again, he was talking about peace, obviously, in his short policies. So I think he wouldn't be on board with the killing things like all of you are, unless it's severe, or really needs to be done. But he'd find, pacifist ways to do things, basically. Bennett, the next thing I wanted to add on to that topic was, this doesn't really count as a policy, but just projects that would, be done straight away and then later on. So, not a priorities list, because that's a separate thing, but just what would you keep at the front of your mind?
Right, well, to keep it front of mind, we would like to help players as much as we can get a quick start on the road. And I will be offering building services again to the people who haven't wronged me on this SMP, which isn't many, but it is still some, so I will be offering building services again.
Alright, okay, wait, Pip, anything to say to that?
No, I think it's fine.
Alright, and what's your view on things that you'd keep at the front of your mind?
As soon as we start the server, obviously, we need to build a shelter, and then let's build a couple shelters for people, because obviously, you can't have people just sort of chilling in the middle of the night getting blown up by creepers, and then it causes absolute havoc. So build some houses for people, as Callum said, and then we'll all go down to the mines together. In the massive cave update, we'll go into the mine, loot a ton of ores, and we'd put all the ores into a chest, and then we'd divide them evenly so we can get a fair cut.
Okay, alright. We'll get onto the caves and cliffs part in a bit, but I see what you're both trying to say with making sure everyone's surviving at the start. But I guess it's... Oh, you're right. Yep.
The sharing in the chest, it's beginning to sound a bit communist.
Okay, alright, we're getting a bit of a debate forming here, alright.
No, it's so everyone's all grows at the same time as other people.
That's communist.
Yeah. Because communism, correct me if I'm wrong, Callum, but isn't that where the government could share whatever they wanted with the civilians?
Pretty much, yeah. Everything.
No, but that's not exactly what we're doing. You're just saying
nobody can have a better job than anybody else, and everybody's got to have the same stuff.
Everyone has to be even, and the government can control it. So.
Yeah.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Alright, so Pip, say what are you saying then?
All I'm saying is, we're not. If people want to go mining by themselves, that's fine. Not depending on how many people mine, they'll get obviously more. But yeah, I'm just not trying to control people. It's just sort of like you do you, spread it apart as much as you want. Video.
Alright, okay.
Sorry, it just sounds slightly communist. I'll have to hand over to my deputy for a minute or two because I'm going to go get a drink.
Alright, okay. Luke, are you fine with answering questions now?
Yeah,
Alright.
that's alright.
Okay, Yeah, so we'll move on to the second topic then, and I'll inform Callum when he returns. But the second topic is different. So alright, so when you answer this, I don't want you to be thinking about caves and cliffs, alright? I don't want you to think about anything that will be new, like the Warden or the Y level or anything like that. Pretend that we're going on to something that's the exact same as our world, alright?
Right?
So forget about caves and cliffs. So this is for both Pip and Luke. So this one is starting up and early game itself. So when everyone's joined into the server, you know, everyone doesn't have any good armor, any good tools. We've all just literally joined. And alright, so I'll cover the points and then you include some of them in your answer. So depending on what your policies are, would you keep people together, or would you not mind if they split apart? And then how would you keep the death rate of people under control? What sort of place or hub, in a way, or civilization would you intend to establish? And for newer players, so people who are just joining, which at that point will be everyone, how will you help them? And there's a separate topic to that, a subtopic, but we'll get to that once you answer that one. So, Pip, do you want to start?
Well, I think I just said, like, you know, we're just going to make housing for people straight away, so they'll just run during the night, and they get blown up by creepers, people get stuff lost, you know, all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Callum said, there's going to be things that you can do to get you to, like, buy housing much. Yeah.
Alright, and sticking to the first point, would you want people together, or would you not mind if they split up?
I wouldn't mind if they split up. But yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Alright, okay, and for the civilization, can you give me a rough idea of what that would be like?
Wait, what?
So in the next server, when you make the place that everyone will be at, so for example in this one it is the civilization, but when you make your own civilization in the next server, what will that be like?
It'll be like ours, apart from it'll be a lot more organised, and it will just be, you know, a lot more organised, everything will run smoothly. I might start a couple. When I first start when everything starts to take off, people start to get netherite armor, and they can still be left on their own. Obviously, we're gonna have the civilization sort of thing. Doesn't matter if people want to leave. I don't mind. But I might build a factory full of basically all varieties of farms, like XP farms, creeper farms, all that in like one big warehouse. And stuff like that, so people can, so you can sort of do that. So it's another way of like making money and helping people if you want to use the XP farms and stuff.
Alright, yeah.
It's a way of sharing, so on.
Okay. And give me a minute. Oh yeah, so also you were mentioning how things would be more organised, etc. So can you give me some examples of things that would be things in this server with this civilization before it was blown up, obviously, but things that you could have improved? So what was wrong in this civilization?
There was like everything wasn't organised. There wasn't exactly a big management. There wasn't like proper management on the server because the president that was going at the time, he didn't come online, and he just sort of let loose on the whole thing, and it sort of just came crashing down.
Alright, okay.
It sort of got out of hand, and they sort of wanted to take over, but got angry because people went on they're going on the server and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, alright, okay. I'll move over to Callum or Luke. Do you want to answer?
Callum, do you want to answer? Or is he not here?
I don't think he's here. Alright, you'll have to answer this one then. So,
I echo what Pip said. I wouldn't mind if anyone under our rule goes and branches off into their own lives. I think that's a decision they made, and we respect it. But yeah, nothing other to add really. I don't think we would do the factories thing because I don't think that would work very well for us. But other than that, I agree with Pip in that essence.
All right, Callum, I assume you agree with those two.
I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, actually, obviously. So forgetting caves and cliffs, so pretend that we were starting a completely new season that was identical with the same update. So forget caves and cliffs. Thinking of early game as a topic itself, how do you keep people alive? Would you keep people together or let them branch out? And what sort of civilization would you make?
Right, well, as I've said, I will not force players to be together if they don't want to be. They can go as far out as they want. I will not stop anybody doing that.
Alright, so you echo what Luke said.
At the forming of a civilization, I will be willing to form an area around a village. We will keep the villages alive the best we can. To do trade, obviously. And we will allow people to come and go from there as they please. But we may or may not build farms for stuff like gunpowder and sugarcane. It just depends on what resources we have at the time and whether we need those resources from those farms.
Alright, okay. Now, I did say before, while you were away, that there was an extra subtopic to this. It doesn't... I mean, technically, it's earlier than the early game, because it's in this season. But, I don't know if Gabe will agree with this, but I assume that leading into the next season, whoever the president is elected, because we know that the election is before the next season, so whoever gets elected will have to work closely with Gabe as the handover takes place from this season to the next season. So, yeah, we'll start with Callum, since he was off for the last one, but, what's your opinion on working with Gabe before the next season?
Well, I have not really found him to be a very good president, no offence to him meant, because he just hasn't been online to help people. I know there's reasons he was robbed on this season, but it's not good enough, really. He was the president of this season.
Especially for our president, yeah.
Yeah, and he just left.
He just left the server to run on his own instead of actually stepping up to the job of being a president. Obviously, no offence, but as a president, you want to look after your people and you want to make them feel good about themselves, and then you can stay president. But he just went for he elected for president, and then he just pretty much vanished. So.
Yeah.
Alright, so, yeah, we'll come back to you later, but Pip, do you want to answer that one? So, how do you feel about working with Gabe?
I think it'd be fine if he actually came on the server. If he came on the server and was nice and stuff like that, then yeah, sure. But, you know, if you're not going to come on the server, then you can't really form a trust thing if you're not going to come on the server. Gabe, don't take offence to this, being honest. And I think Callum and Lou can agree to this. Yeah,
Yeah, alright, so, again, I think you all have the same opinion on that as a president, you sort of have a duty to be on, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's that topic, but now, we're gonna go over to the, well, not the other side, but, give me a minute, 1 second, alright, okay, my Wi-Fi's all good now, but, so now we're gonna go to what I said you had to forget about before, which is caves and cliffs. So now forget about early game itself and focus on the new features, alright? So, Callum, I know that you know quite a lot about caves and cliffs, and especially the warden and all that. So, either you or Luke can answer this one. But, so, I'll go over the points and then I'll let you answer. So, things that will be introduced include the new terrain and Y level changes from below 0 and above 256. So that means higher mountains and lower caves. And speaking of higher mountains, it means there will be new biomes on the mountains, from mountain meadows to snow-capped peaks. So those can be taken advantage of. And then down in the lower caves there will be lush caves, so lots of greenery and nice artistic blocks and all that. And then dripstone caves, which could be used for danger, but also, you know, again, look pretty good as well. And then even lower than that, below 0 in the new deep dark biome, we have the Warden, who has skulk sensors as well, which we will get to these, but don't forget skulk sensor Wi-Fi. But we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so the Warden, again, a very hard boss to beat, isn't really meant to be killed, just run away and get skulk sensors. But then also, this one isn't talked about as much, but the new bundles as well, which are sort of like early game shulker boxes. So Callum or Luke, up to you. We'll start with one of you two.
Callum.
Alright, well, to start off with, we will try players to try and get these, what did you call them? The carrier bags?
Bundles.
Sorry. Yeah, bundles.
And just a bit of information, those require 6 rabbit hide and 2 string.
Yep. We will do our best to get quite a few of these because they will be very useful in the next season.
Especially in early game, they'll be very helpful.
As I expect most players to agree with me on that. And with the Warden and the Wi-Fi, we will have to get prepared to face the Warden because it can dim lights, it can hear you, and with full enchanted netherite armour, properly decked out, it will kill you in about 3 hits.
Yep.
It's something you need to watch out for in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that warning, just be careful.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
Go,
Yeah.
yeah, don't go too deep.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Okay, so, Pip, do you want to say your opinion on all the features? So I'll quickly go over them again just so you remember. So you've got the Y level changing, you've got the mountains with snow-capped peaks, you've got lush caves and dripstone, you've got the Warden, you've got skulk sensors, and you've got bundles.
Right, yeah. So, we got, I think bundles, like Callum said, would be helpful to get. And I think we need to get that quite soon, early on in the game. And Wardens, we have to get prepared for them, because I think it's going to be, as we get skulk sensors and we sort of move on to skulk sensor stuff, it's going to be, I think, a much wider variety of, like, XP farms and stuff you can get with skulk sensors, I think. You could probably do a lot more of them, so I think we need to prepare to face them. I think it would be quite good to do that. Also, yeah, I just think it would be quite good to get on with that. Yeah.
Alright, and then what's your opinion? Actually, both of you didn't really cover this too much, but what's your opinion on the higher mountains and the lower caves?
Yeah, so caves, like I said, we might start a mine thing where people just go down in groups, they're all protected together and get any mobs. Go down there, do mining, do whatever you want, do some exploring.
Alright.
Apart from that, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And I'll take this from Luke, because he hasn't spoken in a while, but what's your opinion on the higher mountains and the lower caves again?
It's gonna be it's gonna be better for the experience because we're gonna have to explore a lot more than we've had to previously, especially in this season when the mountains barely go over maybe 100 blocks. But now they're going to be expansive and they're going to be a lot but a lot more crazy in a way to explore and stuff. So yeah, it's just going to be very exciting in a way.
And this one, now if you've talked to me, and you know that I am fascinated by, and I put this in bold and in capitals, Dwarven Kingdoms. If in the next season, by the end, we don't have a Dwarven Kingdom in one of those massive caves, I will shoot myself.
Jesus Christ.
No, but you get what I mean. So we'll go to Callum because you know I talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, we would be very happy to make Dwarf Kingdom. In fact, we would really encourage people to explore the underground cave, find lush caves, and there is a secret finding them. If you find an azalea tree and dig straight down, you will find a lush cave, and then you're home to an abundance of amazing-looking blocks like flowering azalea leaves, vines, moss,
And would that be used in the Dwarven Kingdoms?
Yeah, that would be quite happily used. You can make your own sections to it. We will let you do as you please.
Actually, that can link back to the thing about civilization. Because would your civilization, theoretically, you may not have planned this yet, but theoretically, would it be on top of a mountain, on the surface, or below ground?
Well, for my civilization, in my mind, I would say we should have it mainly on a plains area, but we should also expand underground as well. So it's a area to go to in case somebody accidentally spawns a wither or just spawns it and isn't ready to kill it, as happened on the server. But I'm sorry, we have to mention that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But just another thing. Since it'll be, the clue's in the name, the deep dark. I know it wouldn't actually be the deep dark we live in, but since it's underground, it is dark, and since these caves are pretty massive, it would require a lot of torches. So, and that's resources. So, are you sure moving underground is worth the resources?
Yes, it is. I have seen these new enormous mega caves. They are really worth it. They have enough dripstone to make about 20 lava farms easily, and they have enough diamonds to deck out every player on the server within minutes. So it'd be worth it, I think.
Alright.
They have full lakes underground and lava.
And Pip, do you agree with everything he said? Pip?
Yeah, I agree.
Alright, okay. So, yes, obviously we mentioned Dwarven Kingdoms, so that is that done, so let's move on to the next topic. Now this one, we've all been affected by it, alright? Even Luke, and he is relatively new, well, relatively, but everyone's been affected by this. And I'm going to spell this out, WARS, wars, alright? We all know what a war is. We've all been involved in a war. Some of us may have even started or finished a war. But, as you know, this server is famous for wars. And I'll just bring up a couple of examples. So, this is actually before this season. But Season 2, Pip and I will remember this. But it's the war against Seb, who at that time was a fake government. And I say fake because no one really supported that government. But we had a mini war against him, and creative and cheats were involved, but we'll forget about that for now. And then obviously there's been the war in this season between Civilization and Newfoundland. And we know the result of that, and we know who won that one. Can you shout out who won that one?
Newfoundland! Yep, Newfoundland.
So those are examples of wars. Now, obviously, this wouldn't apply to early game in the next season, but in late game, once we have, lots of TNT and big gunpowder farms and such, and everyone has unlimited access to TNT, well, not everyone, but people have unlimited access to TNT, we'll go to Pip for this one, but what would you do with the threat of nuclear weapons?
Well, with threat of nuclear weapons, we would obviously have to build a stronger army, and, we can't let people have them in the wrong hands. Imagine if somebody was really against us that had nuclear weapons, obviously we'd have to, I would launch operations to go and take down them before they would get destroyed, but I think we'd have to, equip our army pretty well and pretty quickly early on, so nobody else can do anything. If they want to mess with the army, then good luck, because you know I'm gonna make quite a lot of allies, and you know, I'm just yeah, you're gonna have nuclear weapons to fight back. You know, you fight and you're gonna get it.
Yeah. Alright, okay, very good points there. And now I'll bring the next point to Callum and Luke. I don't mind who answers this one, you can pass it to Luke if you feel like it. But, actually, Luke, can I just confirm, in the next season, if Callum were to win, you'd also be the judge, right?
Yes, I think I would, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not fully sure, but I think it's a high chance I would be.
Callum, can you confirm this?
We would more likely have a vote on it, but he would definitely be on the voting ballot.
Alright, well, I'll just keep you in mind just because, you know, you were Newfoundland's one, so yeah, you have experience, that's the word, experience. So, this sort of relies on law, but it's a government issue, this. But would you keep a watch list of people who could be or are threats to the Dodgy SMP in general?
Yes, we would. And as a precaution, we would also create something called the United Coalition. A coalition is a joining of multiple countries to fight one common enemy, as seen in Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah.
And that will make it a lot harder for people to start win wars.
Because now instead of having to take down one faction, let's say, they'd have to take down maybe 2 or 3.
Yes.
But it'd be a much harder job for them.
And we would like to encourage as many people to join this coalition as possible. And if you do join it, you will receive a supply of help from the government, including resources, monthly, obviously, not Minecraft, and, well, help building.
Yeah. So, yeah, you mentioned coalitions. Obviously, they can be good and bad. Bad if the Labour Party had a coalition with someone who's on the left wing. But, no, that's a complete separate topic. Anyway, we'll go to Pip. Would you put in measures like a watch list?
Or people who are threats to possible threats to the civilization, we'd keep an eye on them. If they get a bit too, if we see suspicious activity from them, like etc., building secret bases and starting to build massive TNT farms and starting to prepare for nuclear missiles, then of course we'd have to say, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And, you know, like, yeah, if they want to.
Alright, yeah, okay. Now, obviously, Jack's Yawn heralded his arrival, so we might as well go to him for the next one. We were talking about the very lovely topic of wars and wartime. And since obviously you said you were all about peace, this will be very interesting to see what you say. Could you tell me, would you keep a watch list of potential threats?
No.
Alright.
I wouldn't, personally. I don't know if this stands for Josh as well, but I wouldn't, as it feels like I'm specifically targeting some people that may have been falsely accused, as it's happened in this season. People have been falsely accused.
No.
And, pardon?
Sorry, just carrying.
And, I think it feels a bit unfair.
Alright.
So, being all about peace, I think it kind of shows other people that we are a threat by putting them on a watch list.
Yeah. Callum, Luke, Pip, anything to say to that?
No, nothing to say.
Alright.
Thank you.
Okay, so, let's have a look. Alright. Now, this one, I can bring up examples for this. Let's cast our minds back to a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, I think it might be, I can't remember. But when Callum bombed the civilization, alright?
Oh, God.
And Gabe, he responded to this through a text chat. He didn't bother to come on, he didn't bother to witness the damage, he didn't bother to do that much. And we have been discussing his involvement, and we'll get onto that in a bit. But, alright, if you were president, and we'll go to Pip, or actually no, we'll go to Callum for this one. but what would you take on a hands-on direct approach to war?
Yes.
Alright.
Direct. We would kick the arse of the enemy, pardon my French.
Okay, alright, yes.
It's just not declaring war without a very good reason. Even then, you will be beaten back by the United Coalition.
And would you, as president, physically come onto the server to help with this?
Yeah. I would physically come on to deal with the war, unlike the recent game. And just to clarify, the reason I blew up parts of civilization is I was trying to get rid of the president we have at the moment because I saw that civilization needed change. And
Sorry.
he was refusing to surrender. I gave him ample warning, and he just ignored me.
Alright, okay. Yeah. Got a bit off topic, but I see where you're going. Alright, so let's have a look. Alright, this one, we'll go to Pip for this one, but can you tell me any measures you put in place to stop a war from happening in the first place?
We'll try and keep it, everything quite cool, but if somebody goes, hang on, I'm gonna have a war with you, then we'll ask some quite serious questions. Why are you gonna start a war? What's your reasons to? But, you know, and if there's a picture of them about to blow the thing, then they're gonna get thrashed. Like, if anyone wants to mess with the government, then they're gonna get it. I'm not gonna relax and just let them blow up the civilization. Like, they're gonna get put under pressure. They're gonna get back. Like, it isn't gonna be something that's gonna be allowed. They're just gonna get pushed back.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and anyone have anything to argue with that?
No, not really.
No, nothing.
Alright, okay, let's have a look at the next topic. Alright, we've gone through most of the war thing. Actually, no, I have one more thing to say, and it is not that big of a topic, but it's just, if there was a war, and I did cover this last time, but I feel I need to cover it again, just in case people didn't watch the last one. But, if there was a wartime, are there any roles or positions that would open up? Like a war minister or something?
Yeah, I would quite like to answer this one. I will have a war minister for each separate civilization, my own.
Mm-hmm.
We will definitely lots of government positions available to the public. War minister is included. Master of Trade and Ships would be included, which I know Pip has taken on the role himself. We'll also have the manager of money and businesses on the...
Alright, okay, we'll leave businesses to a whole separate topic, but yeah, positions would open up. I'll go to Jack again with this one. Do you have anything that would open up in times of war?
What do you mean by that, Charles?
So, Callum said he'd have a war minister, for example, so for each civilization. So, do you have any jobs that would open up, or any measures?
I think... no, really. I just think I hope that we have a reliable president who would successfully take care of this war.
Alright, yeah, no, that is sort of what you want in a president, to be hands-on, like we said earlier.
Exactly. Hopefully, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so, let's have a look.
No offense, Callum.
Okay. Now this one is less war, but more crime and laws. So, the title I put for this was Laws, Crime, Chunk Base, which there'll be a bit of a debate about on this. Chunk Base and the Weed Farm. But we'll get to that, So, yeah, again, just give me a couple of basic laws, and then we'll move on to the things I said, and chunk base, obviously, and just cheating in general, you know, if people are using the seed to do things they shouldn't do, you know, things that if Minecraft wanted you to do, they would give you the ability to do it. But things like that, and then we'll go on to the weed farm, but first, I'll go to Callum, actually, I'll go to Luke. Tell me about chunk base.
Chunk base is obviously a helpful tool. It can tell us where forces are.
Yeah, no, Callum, what do you want to say?
Callum.
I'm sorry, but for the next SMP. This is nothing to do with the election. Seed will not be leaked to anyone. It will not be leaked to anyone. Yes. Only chunk base will only ever be used for extremely important things like an end portal frame, maybe, just to conserve Eyes of Ender, or maybe a Nether fortress. But yeah, Speed will not be leaked, and you will not be allowed to use chunk base without a really good purpose.
Alright, Pip, Jack, anything you have to say about chunk base?
Yes, I personally hate it. I hate it. I think it is cheating, and it completely defies the fact that we had a fresh survival world. And I hope it really isn't used, even with Nether Fortresses and then Portal Frames. I really hope it isn't used, because it's just such a waste of time when you have people that are putting in effort to complete the game, and then someone comes along with chunk base and completely spoils the adventure part of it for you.
No, I do get where I do get where both sides are coming from. Pip, anything to say about it?
Of course.
I don't think it should be used. It's cheating. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Alright, so I've got a bit of a split on that one. We can always come back to that one, obviously. But, well, again, I'll leave the weed farm till last, because that's a controversial topic. But, now this one has happened to quite a few people, not just this season, but past seasons as well, and it's looting people of their stuff, alright? Luke, I want you to answer this one, because obviously you've been a past judge, and you recently had a court case about someone breaking and entering and looting, etc., etc. So, what are the punishments and consequences for looting?
Well, it depends on the severity. If it's like, let's say, maybe some wooden stuff, like a crafting table or a chest, it wouldn't be too severe or anything like that. You just have to return the items. But if it's like full-on for netherite gear or like some really important stuff, the sentences will be increased drastically depending on the severity, as I said. But you know, we haven't come to terms of what the sentences would be. So.
Alright, okay. Pip, want to answer that one? So, what's your opinion on looting?
Looting, you know, like I said, stealing shouldn't be done. If people are caught doing it, then they will get punished. And, you know, it isn't going to be a good thing. But yeah.
Yep, no.
Can I speak on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's disgusting, frankly. Anyone that tries to steal something else from another player is wrong. I personally have never done it. I think I've probably taken a minecart or blocks, and that's it. And they are easily craftable resources. And I just think anyone that does do it, Luke, I know you are judge, should literally just be banned off the server. I think the effect that it's had on multiple people that have been stolen from is really bad. So Pip went off for how long? Pip, how long did you go off for? When something was stolen from you?
I went off for... I think it was like something like 2-3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, and that was really upsetting for him. And it has a big impact on the way people are. And I'm not trying to sound like an absolute wet wipe here, but I just think it does impact the way people see Minecraft.
Yeah.
Callum, you had some stuff stolen from you, and you were very angry. The wall, remember that?
I've had lots of stuff stolen from me. I just got used to it.
Gabe had lots of stuff stolen from him. Not naming any names. He was very upset, and he told me that's one of the reason why that he hasn't come on for a while, because he thinks he's absolutely pointless now. I think it's just, if you do steal, just make sure you put stuff back in the end. Or just don't do it. Think about it before you do it. It's like it goes for real life. You steal, it's breaking the law.
Yeah. I assume... Well, actually, no, I'll come to Callum on this one. What's your opinion on Gabe going off because of looting?
Right, well, I think that's just completely pointless, really. You were elected president by everybody on the SMP, and going off because of stealing is... I can understand it, but not coming on for months on end just because you had a little bit of stuff stolen from you is... No reason at all. Callum,
it got given back as well.
Yeah, it got given back as well. And I've had absolutely tons taken off me without people even asking. and I did not even kick up a fuss. So, just, pardon, well, harshness, but grow some balls.
Jack, you have anything to say about that?
I think it was a bit petty not coming on for a couple months. But then again, I can definitely understand why he didn't, because it's quite sad, really. He's made quite a lot of progress. And all this stuff had been ripped from him. But I think 2 months, 3 months is too much time. I think he had his time to cool off, and he didn't come back on. So I'm not blaming him at all. It was not his fault. But I just think if he took a more calm approach to it, then everything would have been okay.
Sorry to interrupt, but are we talking about who went off the team?
What did you say?
Who went off the server? Gabe, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, Gabe.
Can you just inform me on what you got stolen from him?
He had everything stolen from him.
All of his valuable... No, not netherite. He hadn't got to that stage. Diamond armor. He had lots of valuable ores. Lots of material.
Now, onto the final topic of that.
Wait, before we go on to that topic.
Yep.
Another thing is, if you go off the SMP for multiple months at a time, I will give you a maximum of about...
We'll come to that. That's a separate topic. We'll come to that, don't worry.
Right, okay.
That's a whole separate thing. I've planned out most of the things we've been talking about for the past month. Now, this one has happened actually twice. And I didn't actually think it would happen twice. But, okay, so, as I was talking about earlier, the weed farm. That is a major problem, and it's been running for multiple seasons now. And it's, it had been stopped, but multiple illegal businesses have followed in its destruction. So do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd quite like to talk about that. I wouldn't really expect anybody to make a weed farm, and if they do, all it can really be growing some, I don't know, grass, selling it to people for nothing, really. But what I would do is, if they're selling grass or any other plant, I would just completely ignore them.
Alright.
Guys, Luke left.
He sent me a message saying he has to go and he will be back.
Oh, okay. Well, I would completely ignore any weed farms that are made unless they were doing something like making gunpowder or other explosive stuff.
Alright, again, apart from just saying that you'll shut it down, there isn't that much to talk about it. But, it has been an ongoing problem, so, yeah, we'll get to that. Just, again, to finish off this topic, a quick couple of laws that you didn't put in place. We'll start with Pip for this one.
Wait, what?
Just make this quick, a couple sentences, but a couple of laws that you'd put in place.
Laws, I'd put in place, well, I can't really think of many, so I haven't thought about it that much. I don't think. Can't really think of any.
What do you think of the name of?
Huh?
Well, obviously, things like stealing, like I've mentioned many times before, are going to be taken quite seriously, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just not.
Okay.
Yeah, I've mentioned pretty much most of it already.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, so add on to that.
Callum, do you need to say much, or have you already said most of yours?
Right, well, for laws, obviously, stealing, as Pip said, that'll be punished accordingly. You'll get a nasty slap on the wrist. If you do it again, you'll get what you stole taken off you and a bit more, if that person. For starting a war for no apparent reason, you will be destroyed by the United Coalition. For murdering other players for no apparent reason and them not being happy with that, you may be punished.
Yeah, I would hope so. Anyway.
And Delta, as the top 3 foundations of the server.
Alright, okay, very good. Jack, you there?
Yes.
Alright, so next thing, after priorities, like I said, we can revisit it at the end once we have more ideas. But the next big thing, and I'll let Pip answer this one because he is, and let me get this straight.
Oh, for God's sake.
Pip, are you famous for businesses?
Yeah.
No, his businesses have always gone to pot.
Well, no, he's
No
famous.
They've never been successful.
I never said no. I never gave my opinion on the business. I just said he has made lots and lots of businesses. So for businesses, so in this topic, businesses, jobs, currencies, and redstone. But redstone is not the most important thing. But so obviously we reflect on previous business owners. And how will businesses, what will their relationship with the government be like? So, will there be taxes? Will there be things they have to pay, things they have to do? Or, vice versa, that could work either way. And then, ideal jobs for businesses, like, fundamental things like construction, house makers, builders, whatever. And then farmers, things that everyone will really need. Alright, we'll start off with that. So, we'll start with Pip. So, talk to me how you'd, interact with businesses.
Right. So there would be no tax, unless, and this is like a 0.1 chance happening, unless the government is in a desperate need, and it wouldn't be very high at all. It wouldn't be like 10% like the previous.
Actually, wait. Let me just quickly stop you there. Because if we cast our minds back to the start of Gabe's presidency, do you remember one of the first things he announced?
Or
Taxes. Do we all remember that?
I remember that, and I thought it was an absolutely horrendous.
I never got taxed.
Exactly. A lot of people didn't get taxed because a lot of people didn't bother to enforce
very
it.
badly.
Yeah.
Taxes out of this world.
Anyway, let's go back to Pip's answer. So Pip, continue answer.
I wouldn't do taxes. Like I said, unless government was in desperate need, and I wouldn't want to do that. Neither anyone else. I just wouldn't want to do it. I'm sure other people wouldn't want to pay it. I can see why. Neither would I. But there is going to be, if you want, there might be business support if you want to start a business, but you don't have. I want to encourage businesses because then it raises the economy, civilization, that's basically.
Yep.
What my view.
Very good.
Right. I'll come back to you. Give me a minute.
Okay. Well, Jack, we'll go to you. So, how would your government or Josh's government work with businesses?
We would look to encourage businesses and possibly invest in them to get them going. Because as we encourage local businesses, and people can possibly benefit from them early game. If people go out and get resources early, they can make profit, and other people can have a good head start.
1 minute. I'm back in a minute. Okay, so yeah, Callum, can you give me your opinion on working with businesses?
Alright, well, with businesses, we will allow people to trade with whatever they want, regardless of whether it's worth more from somebody else or worth less. We just don't have a set price. You can buy it from whoever you want for whatever price.
Mm-hmm.
And with storing valuables, we will make it an extremely high priority to get ender chests. Because as we know, only you can access them. Which makes it
quickly about people coming onto the server.
I I agree with it. I think we can embrace people coming online.
And what about
As long as they
people
have
who
nice
don't? And what about
leaders.
people who don't come online?
They should be kicked off. They're a waste of money.
Yep. All right, and Callum.
I'm sure Callum agrees with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
Callum,
agree.
talk to
Okay,
me.
goodbye.
Callum, talk to me about you owning the next server, or anyone who wants to talk about that.
With the next server, it will be, if you don't come online for months on end, you will be kicked off the server. Somebody who will actually come online. As Charles has reminded you frequently, he is spending money on this, and soon I will be spending money on this. So I'm not going to waste money on somebody who's not going to come online without a reason. I will allow people to have a good reason not to come online. Like Eli was moving house recently, that's why he wasn't on. But in the case of Gabe, with how he wasn't online for ages, I wouldn't allow that. I would kick the SMP.
Alright. Okay, well, since we could have maybe fitted in a bit more, but I think we got a good deal in there. But due to time restraints and topics and all that, and final goodbyes, I'd like to thank you all for actually deciding to come on. Thanks to Jack from Beans, say bye.
Bye.
Thanks to Callum and Luke, yeah. Alright, say bye.
Bye-bye.
And thanks to Pip from the Sea Warriors, I say bye.
Bye.
Alright, see you all at the election in 2 weeks.